I'd like to take some time in this video to endorse some things that have merited my approval in recent weeks. I endorsed the Tour de Nerdfighting. I went to the stop in Bethesda and it was incredible, and I filmed a lot of people filming me and taking pictures of me filming them. And I brought this wonderful cardboard sign which is meant to promote nerdfighters of the greater DC area, which is a 700-something Facebook community now, which is something that's very difficult to believe. And generally, I just endorse community. I think it's a fantastic idea, and there should be more of it generally. I'm going to link to a whole bunch of Bethesda Tour de Nerdfighting videos down in the description. And so by extension, I also have to endorse The Fault in Our Stars, if for no other reason, for introducing thousands of 14-year-olds to the concept of metafiction. I can't tell you how many times I had to answer people's questions that no, indeed, an imperial affliction is not an actual book. It's in fact a fictional work of fiction within a work of fiction. Just wait until you start reading the book. Your head's going to explode. And it's the same thing with a Hectic Glow, a band that is so cool that it doesn't even exist. Of course, John Green for years has been dealing with the question of fictionality and what makes a real person, whether with DJ Page Railstone or This Is Not Tom. It is completely missing John's point to continually ask, well, but is it really a real book, or is it a thing that doesn't exist? That's not what John is trying to deal with. Our experience makes An Imperial Affliction, and for that matter, The Price of Dawn, as real as it ever is going to be, and anyone who has read The Fault in Our Stars has participated in the creation of the fictional novel. I also endorse recent bold moves being made by people like Wikipedia and Reddit and other websites regarding the Stop Online Piracy Act and its equivalent in the Senate, the Protect IP Act. If you're not aware of these two pieces of legislation, they are essentially an attempt to turn over control of the content of content-neutral websites to corporations who have the power then to completely shut down a website like YouTube, even though it contains, alongside certain infringements of copyright, a bunch of completely creative, non-derivative work. It's the conceptual equivalent of draining the entire ocean to catch one fish, and I would really, really, really strongly encourage you to call your congressman or senator and make sure that they are voting against SOPA or PIPA. I called Congressman Andy Harris's office this morning and told him that as a constituent of the 1st District of Maryland, I don't want my representative voting on behalf of SOPA. This piece of legislation would be incredibly crippling to the internet, which is a much larger chunk of the United States economy than the entertainment industry, which is what SOPA is designed to protect. It just doesn't make sense. While we're talking about politics, I would also like to take the time to endorse the new post-post non-interventionism. I've really sort of stopped paying attention to the details of foreign policy in the GOP field, especially since my ex-candidate John Huntsman has pulled out of the race. But there's been a lot of talk lately about aggression toward Iran, which is not a very good idea considering that there is still no proof of them actually weaponizing their military program, and that observers from the International Atomic Energy Agency are coming at the end of the month to see what is going on in Iran in terms of nuclear energy versus nuclear weapons. There is a mechanism for this to take place. And the same thing goes on in Syria. As much as I morally believe that there should be something done to stop the slaughter of thousands of civilian protesters in Syria, there is nothing practically that the United States can do in terms of military support. I endorse GetReligion.org, which is positively the most fascinating website ever that deals with religion in public life. It's technically a blog that critiques media coverage of religion in journalism in the United States and outside the US, and it's just so illuminating about how bad journalists are when it comes to religion. I also have to endorse Anki, which is an application I've been using on my computer for months now. You set up your own flashcard deck, and it remembers how well you process the information. Based on how well you tell it you've remembered the information, it'll time the next time you see that card. So it's much more efficient than just dealing with an enormous stack of flashcards. I go through it every single day for vocabulary in Russian, in Arabic, and in Persian. I endorse Qawwali, which totally makes me sound like a 1996 world music snob, but it's South Asian Muslim love poetry about God, and if you just listen to Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan, and it's incredible, incredible music. Finally, I endorse Hey There Mr. Johnson, which is a collaboration channel being run by my friend Steve and his brother, I think Tim is his name, or Hank or something. It really feels a lot like classic Brotherhood 2.0 with better production quality. I'm also going to remind you about Ivan Stantonopoulos, which is still a thing. You can still donate. Link in the description. Have a nice day.
जानी पड़ेगी पक्किया हो मेरा